Hello, everyone. I think we're all here finally now that we resolved our technical difficulties. I'm your host, John Hoppy. William is not with us. He's basking in some sun in California, so I hope the little turd's enjoying it. I'm joined by my co-host, Heather. Heather, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a pretty good week.
Great. Carlos, he's with us again after a 2-week hiatus. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. I feel good. I feel like I'm in isolation, but that's all right. It's all good.
You're feeling much better though than last week, obviously.
Oh yeah, and again, to each their own. But for myself, being triple vaccinated, having preconditions, like it was nothing but a flu. And again, I'm grateful that it didn't hit me the way it's hit other people. So I'll take flu-like symptoms for a couple days any day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And filling in for William this week, we have the Bryan Atkins on Twitter. You also know him as the Hype Bryan Ballard. Bryan, how's it going?
Hey guys, it's going good. Crazy busy week, but in a good way. I just feel like every minute is taken up and a little draining, but a little good. So.
All right. Well, we got some great experiences from both you and Carlos over the last couple of weeks here. We covered AEW Revolution on last week's programming. So, hey, Carlos, why don't you kind of share your experience over that whole weekend?
It was just an amazing experience. I can't speak enough about AEW. And again, I want to give a shout out to Tony Khan, for who allows us talents to do all these extra things for the fans, and also shout out to the AEW Community Outreach Program as well. My AEW week started on Friday. I went to Rampage over at the Cow Palace, and that was cool. And again, it was just a cool experience. So when the recording, we heard from Brian's experience, but when the recording live, pretty much it's like match after match, and you got like this 10 count out, and then it's like exciting because you don't know who's coming out. And again, all we knew for Rampage was that 4 advertised matches, So it was just kind of neat and exciting to see all these guys coming out. And then they had a lot of different talent there from New Japan and also GCW. So that was really cool. And again, it was just really cool to have Tony Khan come out and thank you for coming out there and everything else. So I went to Rampage. I found free parking. I used to live in the city, so I'm like, I'm not going to pay for parking. So I had to find free parking. So anyway, after Rampage, I went to Max Caster's concert, and then I was at the DNA Lounge in San Francisco. And again, I wasn't really originally going to go to Rampage, but because when I saw Max Caster was having his concert, and then there was also the event I went to on Saturday, I was like, I'm going to go. And so I went to Max Caster's concert. I made a lot of new friends there. I met my friends Karen and Alina and Thomas and Mateus and also Amanda and Kevin. All these great people that I just met out there. And the other guy, Kevin, too, I met on Twitter because we was talking about going to the show. And he was pre-gaming, so I just got him there. And all of a sudden, we're just chilling there, and all of a sudden, excuse me, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it's Max Caster, and he comes out there, and he just he rapped all his different songs. Throughout the show, he had Isaiah Cassidy join him and Daniel Garcia, which is really cool. And then he had, there's a moan-off. If you go to Isaiah Cassidy's YouTube page, you can see the footage of that. So that's really cool. And then also 2.0 was there, and so was Mark Sterling. So that was just a really fun experience. And then after the show, even though he was tired, that was also Dante Martin's birthday. So that's the reason that Anthony Bowens wasn't there and stuff like that. But Max Caster, he just stayed there to scissor all the fans afterwards. And he just stayed to meet all the fans. So that was cool. And then after I got over, we all just kind of hung out, and so we just all kind of shared wrestling stories. So on Saturday was AEW Bowling Together event. And that was really, really cool. I met Will Washington and Denise there. I had my shirt from Flated Art, Flated Black. Tony Khan was this, and then they were all laughing about my shirt and taking pictures. Sammy Guevara took a picture and sent it to Tony Khan, which is pretty cool. So right away, the cool thing is we're all waiting outside, and you see the van show up with all these guys, and there was way more talent there than was advertised, and that was just so cool. And to me, it was I didn't even know Adam Cole and Britt Baker were hosting it. So again, I got to see Adam Cole because I was one guy I was kind of upset that I wasn't gonna get to see wrestle live, and then he ended up being there with Britt. And again, it's just an amazing event. the one thing I will say is the thing I want people to give a break about with the AEW talent is let them break kayfabe, man, because it's like getting to meet these guys and getting to see them and getting to get like just have a chat conversation with them and talk with them. So like if you paid $75, you were bowling down on the floor. You could go, you were free to walk around. So we were free to walk around and talk to anybody. And at first I was kind of nervous, but then I'm like, why am I nervous? You know, like these guys are here, and if they weren't here to hang out with people, they wouldn't be here. You know, obviously there's like, you're not going to see MJF there, you know? And so like the first people I asked for a picture, I asked was Sammy Guevara, Tay Conte, and Aaron Solo. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know, and originally we were supposed to be, I was going to bowl with the people I met on Saturday, but they were only doing groups of 4. So I ended up bowling with some other people that I met there, and we all became friends. Pauline and this other guy, Jose, and then the other, I forget the other lady's name. But Jose is like special needs, and so like for me, honestly, like getting to like, because he was nervous, like he never met a wrestler before, so I was taking him around, and I was taking all the people around, like, yeah, let's go. So like I was kind of the leader of taking like a certain amount of group people around, and like getting to meet Sammy, and then Sammy like took extra care to make sure that he was having a really good time. My friend Jose. And he was just checking in on him. And so when I told my other friends that story, like, oh man, I can't hate Sammy anymore. I go, right? You like, because he's such a genuinely good guy. Like he was just there, like making sure my friend Jose was having a good time, kept checking on him, you know, giving him high fives and stuff like that. And that's what it was all about, you know. To me, like I was having a great experience living off of their experiences because I was taking all the pictures for Jose. And like even like when we met Britt Baker, she was busy. I mean, she's kind of a bitch, being honest, but you know, so was Chris Delander. So I'm not really fans of those two anymore, but at the same time, like I sacrificed taking a picture with Brett so he could have his picture, and he was just so excited. And even like when we met, I took a picture with Thunder Rosa, like she was sitting down, and she didn't have any makeup on, and I'm like, I asked her, "Can you take this picture with me?" He's like, "Sure." And then I can tell he's like kind of like, "Why do you want a picture with her?" And then I'm like, "That's Thunder Rosa." Like, "That's Thunder Rosa?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, she's like one of my favorites," because like I didn't recognize her without any paint on her face. And I'm like, "Well, want to take her picture?" He's like, "Yeah." And so that was just really cool, and just getting to talk to those guys. And again, I talked to Adam Cole for a little bit too, and you know, like I mean, and he was just telling him like, I'm glad that he's here because you know, if he was at WWE, we wouldn't get to share these kind of experiences with him, and getting to like talk to Mark Briscoe about his brother too was really cool. Like Tony Nese let me fill up his abs. You know, you can probably tell that's gay. He's like, "You want me to fill my abs?" I'm like, heck yeah, dude. And like even like the Gun Club was really cool. You know, everyone was really funny. Like JD Drake was there with his 3 bowling balls. Like again, I just talking to Mandy Hubert about Brody, and she was really thanking us for like being there because she had to really fight to get that event because at first Tony didn't want to do it, but then he let them do it, and so that was really cool. And then meeting Hobbs, like too, like when I went up to Will Hobbs, he was eating like a chicken wing. I'm like, I'm really sorry to bug you. He's like, "Oh, you're fine, dude." So that event was just so cool, and there was like a local wrestling event afterwards, and I'm like, I can't go, like I'm on such an emotional high right now because again, all the guys are really cool, like everybody was really cool, like to go take pictures with them, you know, and there was like I said, way more advertised stars there. Like I'll still do like a photo dump, but I mean, like best friends, I mean everybody was there, you know, 2.0, I mean Paul White, Dustin Rhodes, Adam Cole, I mean like Jay Lethal, I mean it's like. I mean, Serpentico was really cool. Like I yelled at him, he like gave me a way right away. And hell, like, there's so many people there. Like again, way more people than advertised, and it was really fun event. And then Revolution Sunday, that was cool. Again, it's downtown at the Chase Center. Like I was sitting in section 118, and for me, like that was to me like I'm like the whole thing time I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna be front row in Sacramento. Like this is cool to go to, but I can't wait. So we were sitting in a section kind of where the coffin was for Jungle Boy and for Christian, and it was just a cool event. Like time like literally just flew by, and like that's the cool thing about that event. Like you didn't realize that the Iron Man match was like 70 minutes long. Like it felt like I was literally like 40 minutes in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already been 40 minutes. And every event just kind of flew by. My one thing is I wish we would have saw Jade Cargill in a match on the pre-show. Like I feel like maybe we're getting punished because it wasn't sold out. But other than that, it was just a really fun event. Tony Khan came out and like thanked us. And it was like we were loud, but then you watch it back and I'm like, man, we were really loud, you know? And again, to me, like the main thing about going to the pay-per-view was seeing MJF there, you know, because again, you don't really get to see him every week. Like he wasn't even in Sacramento. But again, it was just cool. I mean, and so that event was really cool. And like I said, time just flew by. It was a cool event. So again, then I went to Dynamite. My one complaint about Dynamite is that they didn't let me take any of my signs in. So I was hella pissed because as long as you guys, I made a sign for us, and then I made the sign too for Denise, and Will, and they were talking about that, and everything else. And so even when I went, I'm like, I never saw a thing that said that you couldn't take any signs in, and they like, for example, I had a sign that said like, let's make daddy magic's nipples hard, and they're like, well, this sign's inappropriate. I'm like, do you guys even know the product? So like and that's more on the Golden One Center than it is AEW. But for that, like, I just wish that they would talk to them and get them, in line with that, because I wouldn't like, and I knew once I got out to see other people's signs too. I'm like, so you made me throw all my signs away, but I see other signs. So that part was irritating. But other than that, it was really cool. I was front row next to the entrance, and I was sitting next to Mighty Myra's brother. She's an independent wrestler, so him and I kind of bonded and we're just chatting. And again, I was there for 4.5 hours, and it just flew by. So like Bryan, he'll talk about this too. Like they literally, like when they're doing dark elevation, like they just count down to 10, and you're like, who's coming out next? And so it's kind of neat to see that. And so it was like, so you don't see on the TV because on the editing. But so Marina Shafir threw her socks at us because I'm like, where's Roddy at? And she's like, just got pissed and threw her socks at me. So that part was funny. And then like Brian Cage interacted with me afterwards. So, and then it was really funny because like Jericho threw his wrist tape at me, which was really cool. I still have it. And it was just a lot of fun interactions like that. Like there's a lot of things, obviously, because they have so many cameras that they don't catch. But I mean, it was just like, you feel like part of a fraternity, and it was so much fun being front row. I mean, I recommend anybody get floor seats. Like, and so the whole time, every time Jericho was there, like the whole time I was there, the 5 days I was going to events, like I'd always have my phone out. And the one time I did it, he came out for a Rampage, and he literally stood right in front of me and and the other guy, I forget his name, but like Mighty Myra's brother, and he just sat there for 30 seconds, like fist pumping us as we're singing Judas. So I'm like, oh great, the one time I don't have his freaking lyrics out, like he's gonna come do this. So that was really cool there. And again, it was just really cool. Like so the way they film Rampage is they film like, so Rampage, if you saw it, Nyla Rose's match was first, but on our last. But when they filmed Rampage, it was first. The Sammy match was actually filmed last. And then again, and then I got to interact with Mark Briscoe a lot, telling him go after that TV title, and he was like, yeah, give me a high five. And there's just a lot of interactions and then for the Acclaim, when they came out, Max Caster actually grabs my microphone, like the styrofoam microphone. Well, shout out to my friend Amanda, because she's the one who told me to buy it. He came out and grabs my microphone from me, and he's using that when they were doing the intro, then hands it back to me. But they didn't throw any of that on camera. But like I said, it was such a cool experience, and I cannot recommend it enough for people to go and experience it live. And me and Bryan were chatting before this, getting to go live. It's like, I feel like you're part of a fraternity now. And like, even when I was watching Dynamite live on Wednesday, I felt like I was part of the crowd just because I've been there now and got to see it. So it is like a big rock show, and I feel like we're like their groupies, man. Like, again, I've been to WrestleMania, I've been to No Way Out. I mean, I was at the Cow Palace when Igor won the title. I was at WrestleMania when Seth cashed in. I've been to a lot of cool events, but nothing will beat being front row at AEW. That was like the cream of the crop for me. So it was a really, really fun time.
Very awesome, man. I mean, sounds like it was one hell of a weekend.
Oh, dude! And again, I have no regrets over catching COVID. Like, because even I gave my grandma COVID. She's like, "I'll be happy." I go, she's like, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like just the people I met. I have new friends for life now. Like getting to like really see the wrestlers and then them just being open with us and having conversations and making sure the fans had a good time. I mean, I just saw nothing but smiles on my faces from so many people, and just so many cool experiences where, they made a lot of fans for life. And it was really cool. And again, I hope that they give the Bay Area another chance, because I know Revolution didn't sell out, but at the same time, it was a really fun event. The crowd was hot. Even Sacramento, that crowd was white hot, man. It was a really, really fun event.
Well, we also had another member in our crew here that's attended a great event. We're talking about Bryan the Hype Ballard, who just attended the very first AEW house show. Bryan, why don't you share your experience with us on that?
Absolutely. And it was the AEW House Rules Tour. They had it in Troy, Ohio. So it was the very first one. They had it the location they had it at. They had about 3,000 people. They sold about 92% of those tickets, which I think is pretty good for an initial try, right? And it was just kind of in nowhere in Ohio, so it was kind of a weird place to try to test a market, but I think it was in that wrestling hotbed area. So they had a lot of good interactions. I actually got to sit first row in this one as well. I was enjoying being that close to the ring and that action, but I also was enjoying the interaction that AEW, kind of to Carlos's point, they made you feel like a fraternity, and they made you kind of feel like you were definitely part of it. And that's my best advice I would say to anybody that goes to a house show. And this was one of my first ones for AEW, let them entertain you. I think that's like, sometimes we look at every little thing and we try to say, oh, well, they're doing this for story, where house shows, everything's kind of open, and sit back and let them entertain you and just have fun with it and have fun with the crowd. I started for Ethan Page. He ended up wrestling 2 matches because the one match wasn't enough for him. So he asked for a second match, and they sent out Hook. After he got beaten very badly by Hook, I started a one more match chant, one more match, and I got the whole arena to actually do it. So that was actually kind of cool. But, you can be a part of the show, but you also can, interact. Kind of to Carlos's point, I enjoyed going into this only knowing about 3 matches on the card, right? And that was Britt Baker and Anna Jay. And then there was Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy versus the Butcher and the Blade. And there was Big Bill and Lee Moriarty versus Moxley and Claudio. And so that basically was the 3 advertised matches. I believe they did advertise the Powerhouse Hobbs match at one point, but ultimately we didn't know who else was coming out. And the event ended up being 3 hours long, which was amazing. And we sat there and they counted down 10, 9, 8, 7. And it felt like a Royal Rumble. And you're looking down the aisle at the Videotron, trying to see whose video is going to pull up. And it felt very Royal Rumble-like, but I was so pleasantly surprised throughout the evening. And I think if some of those events matches would have been advertised, I wouldn't have been as surprised. And I've been like, oh, I expected that. So I kind of like that. And, if they keep that up as a normal house show type thing, I think that's a great experience for the fans. I will say it did let me down at one experience because I seen Saraya, Tony Storm's Titantron go off, and I was geeking out thinking I was getting to see one of them because I love both of them. And I got Ruby Riott coming down. I literally was like, oh, Ruby, are you kidding me? And not that I have anything against Ruby Riott, but you guys just got me all excited about, I'm going to say Paige and Tony Storm, right? But ultimately, a lot of great surprises that evening. I mean, great crowd, great atmosphere. Jeff Jarrett made for me a surprise entrance going against Brian Pillman Jr. And I'm a big advocate for Jeff. I've gotten to meet him backstage at a TNA event before, and he's just such a good guy and he's an example of how to treat wrestling fans and how talent should interact. And he just, he does a great job. So I was kind of like, it was taking me back to that interaction, and I was kind of just smiling. I was smiling because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Jeff, right? So, but other matches they had there, I mean, Tony Khan was on hand. He did come out and say, thank you to everyone. Like I said, Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy had a great match. And then QT Marshall was doing his heel thing along with Powerhouse Hobbs, and they each had a match that night. And QT Marshall just, knows how to play a crowd. I'll give him that. And then they had some smaller unknown wrestlers as well, and they're kind of going against some of these guys. But overall, great experience. And for this being their first show, I didn't know what I was getting into, and it didn't feel like a high school gymnasium, and it wasn't one, but I didn't know if I was going to a high school gymnasium, right? Like I don't, when I hear house show, I'm thinking there's barely any curtains up. But I mean, they had all the sound, all the audio, the music, the laser lights. I mean, they had pretty much the whole deal that you, and Carlos can kind of firm this, that you would see it like Dynamite or one of the TV shows, but it was just a smaller arena of those 3,000 people or less. So that was a little bit my experience. And I mean, if you guys have any questions about it, feel free to ask, but definitely it was a good one.
And the one thing I want to piggyback on what I want to say this to you. I'm really glad I saw the Moxley match live because I didn't have to see all that blood and gore straight in my face. but again, for me, I love John Moxley. Maybe not just Heather does, but I love John Moxley, and I forgot that he was even at WrestleMania 31, because he was in a ladder match, and I'll never forget that match, So. Yep. That was really cool. And like Brian said, they do a really good job of keeping you entertained. And again, I think that's the one thing where I wish WWE would take it back because I think with WWE, they are so overly produced these days, and it's more about the television. It's if you make sure the crowd that's there is having a good time, it's gonna be conveyed on television by the crowd's reactions. And I just wish that WWE would get that and quit being so overproduced, because it really just adds to the crowd. Like Justin Roberts and them were keeping us entertained the whole throughout the thing. Like two of the great, they're playing like rock paper scissors, and it was just like, it was just entertaining the whole time. Like it was literally like they just, and it was natural. Like it just flowed. Like you never once felt like there was even like a lull in entertainment. And I think that's again where WWE could just humble themselves a little bit. Their product would be portrayed that much more better on TV if they made it more about the live crowd that was there and make sure they had a good experience.
And that's how the Chris Jericho cruises go. Is, you know, they definitely give the fans their value and always try to interact with all of us. It's just much like what Carlos went through with Revolution and Brian at the house show there. Sorry, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think they AEW, and even to your point, John, the cruise, right? They're there to entertain the crowd and they interact with the crowd. There was, and me, I almost didn't know how to react to that, just because, you know, I'm used to the more produced show. There was a point where Anna Jay was like right in my face, like pretty close, and I was like, I didn't know if she was going to kiss me or hit me, you know, like, oh, and I just kind of like was standing there like, how's this playing out? And she was like yelling at me, and I'm like, she was yelling for cheering for Britt Baker, but I was like, ooh, I was just gonna stand there and let her kind of do her thing, and I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, there's a bunch of security guys here too. So, and then there's also, so they do a good job of interacting with that. And I've noticed, I'm going to give a shout out, honestly, to Lee Moriarty. He did a really good job, because I know he didn't want to break his heel character. And there was a younger kid, a little kid right next to me. And he was like trying to high five him. And he is looking at him. And this little kid's like not giving up, right? And his name is Moriarty, like leans over, looks at him, and then like tries to really high fives him, but like making sure that nobody's seeing it. And I was like, he kind of wanted me over there a little bit, you know. I was like, all right, you know, because he still wanted to interact with this kid who obviously, you know, so it was good stuff.
And too, I just want to say too, like the security guards are so awesome too. Like they're totally talking to you the whole time, and they're respectful and having a good time. And like, I mean, like I said, like they're all cool, and as long as you're cool with them, they're gonna be cool back with you, man. And again, it's a cool vibe, man. And like I cannot share my gratitude enough for that experience that I had.
And you know, for the most part, they will always be cool with you. I will always preach this, and that's one thing I always tell my wife. I go by a code of ethic when it comes to talent: is make sure, one, they're in a good mood. Two, don't bother them while they're trying to eat or do something really important. But three, you know, be respectful of their space. They'll be respectful of you if they can't do something right away. You know, and they tell you, okay, come back to me at this time or whatever time, you know. They'll be glad to do it with you. They're just regular humans too, and trying to take care of things as well.
And go ahead. Go first.
Oh, I was going to say, I can confirm that John Moxley does bleed at house shows.
Oh, Jesus! I will not ruin the aura of the House of Black for people. Okay, I'm not gonna go there. So we'll just stay when the lights go out. I don't remember what happened. Okay, I didn't see nothing. But also too, like for me, I forgot QT Marshall was waiting for me to yell at him, but I think he's a total cutie hottie. So I'm like, I love you, QT. And he's like, whatever. Like he just like he was doing that same thing, but he was gonna with Anna Jay with me. Like he was waiting for me to just talk shit to him, and I'm like, I fucking love you, QT. I'm sorry, no, not gonna happen here. But I had that experience with him too.
That was kind of the main thing, is that John did bleed, which was funny. He actually got his earring ripped out.
Oh, wow. I'm waiting for someone to do that. That's good.
Yeah, it was. And then so that was like, I was like, oh, there it is. I was like, even a house show. So, but no, great experience overall. And you know, maybe someday we can all get to a show together at some point, right? All of us. That'd be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome.
To all you ladies and guys out there, take your shot, because I'm not going to disclose who, but one of my friends did get the phone number of one of the talents, and they are talking today. So I'm just saying, you never know what can happen at an AEW event.
Oh wow, that's pretty gutsy there.
Hey, she took her shot and she got it, and so hey, good kudos for her. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, for sure. Just hope they don't change the number.
No.
My wife made a comment, part of it on the last Jericho cruise we went. Kurt Angle went out of his way to interact with me on the cruise, and she's right. I was actually wearing, don't call it a comeback, Kurt Angle shirt from WWE
Nice.
back then.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was behind me. I get this tap, tap, tap on my shoulder, and sure enough, he goes, "Hey, nice shirt there." And we shook hands, introduced each other, and yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
I've gotten to meet Kurt at a TNA event, and he's so nice, like super great guy.
He is just way too humble of a man.
And I honestly believe Kurt Angle is not acting when he's on TV.
No, he's like a kid in a candy store.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So
I believe he's actually playing his own self.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is other to the fans is that if you ever do get the chance to interact, do these events, like please don't ruin it for everybody else. And because even like I don't want even at the bowling event, they didn't even pat us down or anything like that. Like they just let us all in. And again, it was like a lot of trust, to just to let people in and not even like put us through a metal detector or anything like that. So again, just don't ruin those. Like if you get to go to these events, I just hope some stupid fan doesn't ruin it for everybody else,
Now that we got that out there, should we go ahead and get right into a regular show, guys?
Yeah, I'm actually going to leave now. So yeah.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, you're going to start trying to pull a Heather on me. I'm going to bail. No, you're not. You're going to be right here joining us, damn it. So she wasn't getting out that easy. Anyways, while we get right into it, we're going to go ahead and start off with AEW since we've been talking about AEW for the first half hour here. Going right over the Dynamite results, Blackpool Combat Club defeating Hangman Adam Page, Dark Order's return of Stu Grayson and Evil Uno. The TBS Championship, Jade Cargill retains over Nicole Matthews. For the AEW International Championship, Orange Cassidy retains over Jeff Jarrett. And in the World Trios Championship, the House of Black retain over Jericho Appreciation Society and the Elite. Going into Rampage, the TNT Championship, Powerhouse Hobbs successfully defends against Rey Fenix. Taya Valkyrie making her Rampage and AEW wrestling debut over Eva Lawless. Matt Menard and Angelo Parker defeating the Bollywood Boys. And in what I thought was the upset of the week, Daniel Garcia defeating Brody King. And since we haven't really heard from her yet, if Miss Heather would care to join us, why don't we get Heather's take on AEW this week?
I'm not here.
Bullshit.
Okay. The Dynamite, I missed like the first part where I was trying to watch it where MJF came out there and everybody was talking about they wanted to get the title. I know that they were talking a lot of shit, but let's see, BCC and Hangman and the Dark Order, that was a pretty good match right there. Jade Cargill versus Nicole Matthews. Okay, that was pretty much just a squash match. Like I said, Jade has not got, well, now with Taya Valkyrie coming in, I'm hoping that will be some competition for her. And I don't know if I doubt they're going to turn around and let her just come straight in and take the belt off of Jade, but hopefully maybe down the road that she could be the one to dethrone Jade, because Jade's matches have just gotten boring and stale because she's run through everybody. Jeff Jarrett and Orange Cassidy, I literally cannot stand Jeff Jarrett, but y'all know how I feel about the heels. But I thought that was a decent match, except for with the referee thing. And then I love, shout out to Ref Aubrey for coming out there and stopping the shenanigans, as everybody was saying on Twitter. And then, Orange Cassidy got to keep the belt. Then the House of Black versus the Elite and JAS. Of course, House of Black, they kept the belts because they just got the belts, and I didn't see them taking off them anytime soon. And then I like the ending where the Elite backed up Hangman when BCC came up, and they were Heyman was in the middle between the Elite and BCC. I thought that was a good moment right there. And then as it went off the air, Heyman was just turning around, but I saw some extra footage where he turned around and they just kind of looked at him and then backed out of the ring. The Elite did. I thought that's a pretty good angle right there. We get to see where that's going to go. And then on Rampage, the Hobbs versus Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix worked his ass off. I thought that was an excellent match right there. But, Hobbs retained. But like Ray Phoenix, like I said, he really worked his ass off. He did really good. The Ty Valkyrie versus Ava Lawless, I really wasn't a match. I mean, because it was just like over and done. I think for her first match, she should have had someone a little bit better, like so she can fight a little bit longer. But I know which Rampage is only an hour long. Bollywood Boys versus Matt Menard and Angela Parker. It is what it is. Brody King versus Daniel Garcia. That was a decent match, but Jericho, had to hit him with the bat for Daniel Garcia to win. So yeah, the systematic cheating, as they always say. So that that's how it is what it is. So, but yeah, that's AEW for me.
So for me, for Dynamite, first of all, like I thought that this was a really like historic episode of Dynamite. And what I mean by that is like this is the first Dynamite that only had 4 matches on it, and I really thought like this was like a really good thing about like being more like geared towards storyline and not being afraid to like let there be interview segments and letting those things play out right. And then, but because I think at the end of the day, like I think the thing that AEW can rest their laurels on is that they know that they know there's gonna be some good wrestling. So I did like the fact that Tony Khan would just like relax a little bit for that episode, and there was only 4 matches on Dynamite. I loved the whole opening segment. I like the 4 pillars match that's gonna happen because I think they all deserve it. I think that Jungle Boy and I think Darby and Sammy, I think all those guys being utilized in that way and then kind of bringing it back to the 4 pillars is a really good storyline. I thought the whole segment was really good. Again, it was a nice, good 20-minute storyline. And just seeing how much, better Jungle Boy has gotten on the mic. Sammy can always hold his own. Darby, too. Like, I think, again, like, and that was the one thing, too. I know you guys talked about Revolution already, but, like, seeing how many of their guys won compared to, like, the outsider people. Like, again, I think it was just a really strong thing for AEW. And I just like seeing them to continue that. I want to give a shout out to Steve Grayson because I know, like, before he left AEW, because I heard that he was just offered like a per appearance deal instead of a contract. And again, anytime someone bets on themselves and goes away, I'm gonna always love that. And I like the fact that he's back now and that he got a full-time contract again. He deserves it, and I'm really glad. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with the Dark Order. Again, for me, like I don't like that Jade's all alone in her little Jade burst like Cody Rhodes was. Like to me, there's so much better talent that could be being utilized. And for me, like I thought the reason they were like booking Riho up and letting her win all these matches was to go after Jade. So the fact that they stuck Riho in with the other girls, I'm just like I think that was the wrong move. I think especially someone like small like Riho, I think she could give Jade a really good match. And so I think that that's a miss for Tony Khan. I love the whole Acclaim with 2.0 because I do think they're sports entertainers. And so I think that's a really smart storyline for them. So I thought that was really, really done well. Again, I think that was really good. In QTV, I thought that was entertaining. But for me, like, put Nyla Rose with that. Like, to me, like, they should put Nyla Rose in there with them because she's a natural smartass and she's so good on the mic. Like, I think having Nyla Rose in those segments with those guys would make it so much better. And so I hope that they eventually utilize her with that. And then again, so the main event was awesome. Again, they know where they're at. And they're playing to the Winnipeg crowd with Kenny and Jericho, and that was the right main event. And again, the fact that they put over the House of Black was the right call. The one thing I did notice, and that I do want people to take notice of, is if you notice who the referee was, it was Aubrey Evers, not the Elite's usual referee. So I thought that was not Rick Knox. So I thought that was interesting that it was Aubrey instead of Knox. So I think that kind of shows who has the most pull in AEW these days is Jericho. So again, I just kind of took a mental note of that. Rampage is very entertaining. Again, like Heather said, Ray Phoenix killed it. I mean, he made a great job of making Hobbs feel strong. I do like that they're utilizing Aaron Solo, QT Marshall with him, and I like the whole storyline that they had with Solo who broke in the car and stuff like that. I thought it was really good. Again, Taya Valkyrie, again, I just wish with the roster they have, they were using developmental talent, like give her a real competitor. And again, I think she'd be better as a heel with Jade than fighting Jade. But I am glad they put Mark Sterling back with Jade too, because I feel like they need to give these managers like a top talent, like having Sterling with guys who are just losing all the time isn't really doing any good for him as a manager. So I am glad they put him back with Jade. And again, I think that's a really good call. Again, I love the Bollywood boys too. I to me, like, sign them up and Ring of Honor. Again, I really like what 2.0 does, and I think that them and the Acclaim is a good feud, and let the Acclaim get them over. I mean, the Acclaim are over like Rover. I mean, again, going back, they by far got the biggest pops at Revolution and Dynamite. So why not utilize those guys and have them, put these people over? And then the main event was really fun. And again, it was really good to see Daniel Garcia win. And after hanging out with him and getting to know him better, I'm a fan of him, so I'm rooting for him, But at the same time, there's so much untapped potential with Brody King, and that's what the whole lot of the AEW guys like. There's just so much they can keep doing with these guys, and I'm just looking forward to what they're doing. Again, kudos to Dynamite. I thought it was a great show this week.
I'll just add a quick note and kind of to piggyback on Carlos's point. I like the idea that they went the route of the 4 pillars match of AEW and that concept. And again, to his point, Revolution had a lot more AEW originals winning matches over the talent that was not grown here. And I like them challenging MJF just because of the fact of, I don't know if any of those guys are at the point to truly challenge MJF one-on-one in a big match event, but a fatal 4-way, that's interesting, because now it's like the powers combined. I think that could tell a little bit of a story, and it's a great way to showcase their skills at that level, even if it's on, a main event type status. So I like that part of, where they're going. And that was the only thing I really wanted to add.
I like the fact that we're moving on to the younger generation now, not so much hanging on to the veterans. Yeah, we started off with champions, of course, of veteran age because it's a start of a company. Now that we got the guys like MJF, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, I think this is a step in the right direction to see if these 4 can help carry on the longevity of AEW, and I think they can, as long as they keep themselves healthy, injury-free. I think we got one hell of a strong roster right there that will be the core of AEW for a long time here. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to get right to the WWE segments. On Monday Night Raw, Judgment Day defeating Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. Cody Rhodes still slaughters LA Knight's defeated streak. Bronson Reed defeats Elias. Austin Theory over Angelo Dawkins. Seth Rollins over Baron Corbin. Bianca Belair defeating Chelsea Green. And in a street fight, Solo Sikoa decimates Kevin Owens. The SmackDown, in a mixed tag match, Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio defeating Santos Escobar and Zelina Vega. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Tegan Nox and Emma in a qualifying match for a showcase match in WrestleMania. Xavier Woods defeating LA Knight. That poor guy, double duty and he loses. That sucks. In the number 1 contendership for the Intercontinental Championship, went to a no contest with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, which we then find out Adam Pearce has made this official. It will now be a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, as Gunther will defend against both Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. For the NXT, we have the NXT Tag Team Champions, Gallus retaining over Pretty Deadly. In a ladder match qualifier for the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver, Zoe Stark defeats Sol Ruka. In the NXT Women's Tag Team Qualifier, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire defeating the teams of Katana Chance and Caden Carter, and Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Dabba-Kato defeating Apollo Crews. In another ladder qualifying match for the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver, Gigi Dolan defeating Kiana James. And that's it for the match results. I don't want to dare start with Heather because it sounds like she's on fire. So why don't we start off with Carlos on this one?
So the one thing I want to say right away is, like, again, I totally feel like Vince McMahon's back in creative control. I feel like Hunter's taking the brunt of it because he's letting, to let Stephanie McMahon escape from the thing. But, just like the little things like the whole Omos and Brock Lesnar thing. And just, and then so if you read the dirt sheets, so LA Knight's supposed to be in for a push after WrestleMania, but until then they're going to keep burying him. That's a total Vince McMahon thing to do. Have a guy lose a bunch of matches before you're going to push him. So just everything I'm seeing, it just all to me screams Vince. I'm not really happy about it. So for Raw, I thought Raw was good. I think that, you had your good stand-up promo from Edge. I'm excited to see him and Balor. Hopefully we get to see the Demon. Again, seeing them in a match will be good. I thought Damian Priest and Dom, and I think Dexter Lumis and Gargano had a great match. The one thing I want to see out of it is I do hope that we get to see Damian Priest on WrestleMania at some point, because I think he's really done a good job, and I think that he deserves to be on the Showcase of Immortals. Brock and Omos segment, it is what it is. To me, if there's been again rumors that Brock Lesnar has told WWE that he wants to wrap up with them. If that's true, he deserves to go out how he wants. And again, if he wants to try to put Omos over while going out the door, more power to him. And again, to me, this is why, again, if it'd be different if he didn't have Lashley and Braun Strowman both beat Omos. But when you already see him get beat twice, what's the point of this match? And so again, I think that's just goes to show the different change in creative. The LA Knight Cody Rhodes match didn't live up to the hype again because, like Vince always does, has to bury somebody a lot and have to lose a bunch of matches before he gives them a push. And then again, the Cody Rhodes segment was really good. I thought they did a really good job with that. I like the fact that Max and the Male Models are on Raw. I love the whole thing with Otis. I think it's really good sports entertainment. And again, if it means that Chad Gable gets a singles run now and he gets to do more things with that, then I'm all for it. And that's, again, to me, Raw was entertaining, but to me, it was if I didn't take notes on it, and after watching it, I didn't remember what happened. I just really think the road to WrestleMania has been really shitty. I'm not impressed with it. And again, that's even with the whole, Bianca Belair and Asuka, it's the typical Vince thing. Now, can they coexist this week as a tag team? And it's it's just total Vince booking. And again, to me, I feel maybe Vince didn't want to see what Triple H could do, and so he had, because it's WrestleMania's his baby, he had to step in and kind of take it over. And again, it's just I don't really feel like we're really seeing the true Triple H vision for WrestleMania, and it really sucks. So again, to me, but again, I like that Chelsea. I think Chelsea and Carmella are some of the best things on Raw right now. So again, I don't really have a lot other than that. I think it was good. Just to me, I feel like the fact that the Usos and Sami Zayn, the Usos tag match, even though we know it's going to be Rome, it's going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for their long title reign and how they defended the belt so many times. To me, it just feels like the wrong storyline. For them not to have a match announced 2 weeks into WrestleMania just seems kind of wrong. These guys are on a historic title run. They've been defending the title against everybody, and you don't have any kind of match for them set yet. Again, to me, this match should have just been set a long time ago. And again, I'm not taking anything away from the moments that we saw on TV because the reunion was great. But to me, we should have had this match weeks ago. As far as NXT goes, I thought NXT was NXT. I didn't think there's really anything that stands out. To me, obviously, I would honestly at this point just keep the belt on Braun Breaker because I feel like he's lost all his momentum, and I would move Carmella up to the main roster and keep Braun there. I like what Johnny Gargano's doing, but again, another home invasion angle. Are you fucking kidding me? This was we've seen it too many of these. And to me too, if you're a fan of wrestling, you know that Candice LeRae likes to wrestle boys. And so for me, it was kind of stupid. I think Candice would go whoop his ass, So it was kind of it kind of just took away from the storyline. I am interested to see Pretty Deadly as faces. I think that's kind of cool. I'm over the whole Kiana James and Fallon Henley match. And again, Kiana James deserved a better showing than what she got on the card because she's a really good wrestler. I just wish she would have had a better match. With the women's tag teams, I just wish we were seeing some of these women move to the main roster. Like the fact that we're going to see, I think like Isla Dawn and Alpha Fire are a really good tag team, and I would love to see them get moved up to the main roster already. Ilya Dragunov has come a long way on the mic. I love him and JD McDonough. Again, they're going to put on a banger. I think Dom Makedo is a pretty good wrestler, and again, he did a good job. And again, kudos to Apollo for putting him over. Again, I wish there was trades right now because I would love to trade Apollo to AEW and get Andrade in WWE because I would like to see him be utilized better. But at the same time, kudos for him for putting people over. The one thing I want to say about NXT is I just feel like they shouldn't end the show with the interview segments because it just takes the crowd out of the what's going on, and I feel like they should just save the interview like those segments for the middle of the show, and they should always end with a good match. As far as SmackDown goes, so if we're comparing SmackDown and we're comparing AEW, like you had to tell 2 shows, and for me, I wish the wrestling just mattered more on SmackDown. I think that's the one thing where like I watch the matches because again we do this podcast, but to me it was like the matches didn't really matter. Even Drew and Sheamus were having a good match, but we kind of knew it was going to end in the way it did because they were going to do a triple threat. So to me, it was kind of sad that you have a 2-hour show and you have all this amazing talent, and the matches don't really seem to matter, and it's all just about the segments. As far as segments goes, it's good seeing Cody Rhodes over as much as he is. You know, I love Dominic Mysterio. I like seeing his prison workouts doing some good things for him with those 10-pound dumbbells. I thought Rhea Ripley and Charlotte had a really good brawl to go to that feud. And again, but it should happen weeks ago to me. And again, this whole build's just been really slow, and you've had 3 months to do this, and it's like it just feels like a shitty build to WrestleMania. And I really expect a better out of Triple H. And again, to me, like these tag team, showcase matches for WrestleMania. Excuse me, like can you at least make them for title matches to where they make more sense? Again, it just kind of fell flat on me. And again, like Becky and Lita don't need the belts, so again, I don't see why that match isn't for the women's tag titles. And again, there were good moments, like the reunion with Kevin and Sammy was a good moment. But again, I just wish it would happen weeks ago because I wish we were just getting a better build to WrestleMania. And I stand by what I said. If Cody Rhodes doesn't win the title, like I think I'm done with WWE just because not having Roman there, not having a champion there is hindering all these different storylines. And I was listening to Grapsody yesterday, and what they brought up was a good point. Like all these guys, like the Brawling Brutes, the Sheamuses, the Bobby Lashley and stuff. They've all been hindered because the Bloodline's been holding all these titles hostage, and I just can't wait to see these titles come off of them at WrestleMania. That's all I got.
Alrighty, Brian, you got some insight on this week's WWE programming?
Yeah, I'll kind of take the approach of, just kind of the build, right? We're a couple weeks out from WrestleMania. Kind of like Carlos was saying a little bit, WrestleMania season's been weird for me because I feel like I try to shift into that gear and then it gets like downshifted and then I get back into it. But their build, I'm glad to see them finally starting to get Cody, shifting towards Cody more. I know we still got 2 more weeks, but they didn't really kill Sammy at all doing that, right? And he's kind of being shifted more towards. I like the reunion with him and Kevin Owens. And then another thing I kind of want to note, I think the Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley build up is kind of typical, what you would see of a normal build. The Bianca Belair and Asuka build up has me intrigued because, I said this a while ago, I would like to see the Great Muta walk her to the ring at Mania, right? And then the fact that he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, that makes that more realistic. And so I would like to see, the one that he trained actually, he get to walk her to the ring for her championship match at a WrestleMania. So I'm hoping and looking for that. Rollins and Logan Paul, I think, is going to start heating up this week with Logan Paul's podcast and him talking about Rollins on that. So I think we got that. But overall, and I want to say a shout out really to Austin Theory's doing a good job trying to build his feud with John Cena without John being as present, right? So I definitely want to say, I think Theory's doing a good job of what needs to, be done there. And right now he's doing the Street Profit thing and kind of matching up with those guys. And then one of the ones I'm saving for last before we transition to Heather, I decided, because we were talking and we didn't really like this Brock Lesnar almost build and matchup, right? And they're trying to like do this transitional big man match. So I just put together here just now another concept, and I really want Heather to follow up with this thought. So we're going to get rid of your almost Brock Lesnar match, and we're going to bring back the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I'm going to give you the participants in no particular order. We've got Amos. We've got the Wizard of Oz, formerly played by Kevin Nash in WCW. The Great Khali. The Berserker. The Yeti. Kurgan the Interrogator. Giant Gonzalez. Fake Diesel. Shaquille O'Neal, because we needed a celebrity guest. And finally, Hornswoggle. And that is going to be the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this year at WrestleMania. And Heather, I'm going to want your reaction.
Shaquille O'Neal. No, I mean, definitely not Almost, because like I said, Almost is not a damn wrestler. I'm telling you. And like I said, he just gets in the ring and throws people around. But like, I don't know, because I'm sorry, I didn't know half them people that you named because I didn't really get to watch much wrestling back then. That's why I said Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, without Hornswoggle, we got Fake Diesel. Right, there was an attitude here where they had to replace Kevin Nash Diesel with a fake Diesel.
I know Kevin Nash. Yeah, and Hornswoggle. Yeah, I know them. And the Great Khali. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, no. Here's what's going to trip you out. Hornswoggle.
Well, it's always Hornswoggle, right? The former general manager and Vince's son. Everything leads to Hornswoggle. So,
yeah.
John, who wins that match? Johnny and Carlos, who wins that match?
The Yeti.
The Yeti. Yes.
So I'm still throwing up in my mouth. I'm sorry. like that. I mean, honestly, to me, the fake Diesel, because that's Kane. He's like the best wrestler out of all those guys.
Ooh, nice take.
Well, wait a minute. Do we get to see the three faces of Glenn Jacobs, the fake Diesel, Kane, and Dr. Isaac Yankem?
Oh, I forgot Dr. Isaac Yankem. There we go. Love it. He could come out all three.
Did you put Kurgan in there? Did you put Kurgan in there?
I put Kurgan the Interrogator. Yep.
Right, you didn't forget her. Nice. No, definitely Kane. I mean, he's the most. He's the most. Are we putting Vader in there? Or are we putting because we can't confirm all these guys are still alive, right?
Yeah, that's true. And Vader was actually a good wrestler and a world champion. So I didn't. I wanted to keep it as ridiculous big man as possible.
I think we should throw Bastion Booger in there.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not going to lie. That crossed my mind.
PM Dawn? How about PM Dawn? PM Dawn. Rapping?
Oh, I forgot about him. And if any of our listeners, have ideas for this horrible Nightmare Battle Royal, hit our Twitter signs, right? And come up with some ideas. I'd like to hear what the community thinks.
That just sounded horrible. I mean, it just sounded terrible to me. I was like, oh my God.
It sounded terrible, but Carlos is going to add to it.
Yeah. We're going to, just add to the dumpster fire.
Oh, Jesus. Well,
I think we could just kind of make this a Twitter community thing and let everybody start adding their people in, and then maybe we can add WWE it, and then they would just probably hate us, but
What about Shanky? Is he in there too?
Oh, yeah. What happened?
I'm gonna go Shanky for the win.
Whatever happened to him?
The tall Indian guy who would dance. The tall Indian guy who would dance with Jinder Mahal.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. Whatever happened to him? Did he get injured or is he done?
No, I think they probably just don't have anything creative for him, like so many other people.
So is he still under contract, or did they just?
He's still under contract. Yeah.
It
was getting over. He was actually getting over, and they just stopped it.
Well, that was the.
I liked it when he started dancing and stuff. When he got to the end.
Yeah, That's what makes you think Vince is back. Because again, it's
Oh.
just like the same thing. Like they stopped the creative with Lacey Evans again. Where did she go again? You know, like okay, we dropped that again.
I didn't like
I
that
was
whole
thinking-
gimmick with her taking Sergeant Slaughter's Cobra Clutch and all that stuff. Man, that shit was stupid.
Yeah.
Are you
That
going to
was-
sick Sergeant
yeah.
Slaughter on Lacey Evans then?
Oh, he's already talking shit. He's even commented to her tweet on Twitter talking about if you're gonna take somebody's move, it'd be polite if you ask for it first.
Oh shit! Damn.
You okay, Heather?
Yeah.
No, not.
Guys, we can have the Underfaker in this battle royal as well. Just saying, Underfaker versus Fake Diesel. It sells itself.
Oh wow, God!
Wasn't that done by the guy who played Phineas Godwin?
No, it was another
What's that?
guy.
Oh,
The
was
fake
it?
Undertaker was somebody else.
Oh, I thought
It was Brian.
Brian Lee, wasn't there?
Brian Lee. Yes, thank you.
okay, that's who it was. I was trying to remember who it
Yep,
was.
He was in the motorcycle gang.
Yeah. They pissed me off because they made him. They let that guy take away Tatanka's undefeated streak. It's fucking stupid. Don't get me started now. You're getting me started. Oh, I'm fucking pissed off.
Well, it's about time because you're usually the one who's starting shit with all of us, Carlos. So you know.
Me? I'm innocent. I'm Brittany. What are you talking about?
Bullshit. Anyways. Yeah. Heather, let's get your take on WWE this week.
Back to the focusing.
I thought it was okay. Like, I liked the beginning of Raw where Edge was out there doing his promo and talking about the Judgment Day and everything. I liked it when he called Priest, Dom, and Rhea. He called them Lurch, Pugsley, and Wednesday. I thought that was just freaking awesome right there. And it was just funny. I don't know. Nobody else probably liked it or whatever. I just thought it was hilarious. And then back to the Brock Lesnar and freaking almost bullshit. That segment right there was just dumb as hell. I mean, like, really, like totally just X that shit out. Like, yeah, okay.
Do you want to rethink that?
Huh?
Do you want to rethink that opinion there, or that's how you really feel?
That's how I really feel.
Okay, just checking.
And that's the bottom line.
Let's see, and Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. Yeah, LA Knight is just getting his ass buried. Which I was already talking about that. And Bronson Reed and Elias, that was pretty much just one and done. That was over with. Bye. But yeah, and then the whole shit with Dom and his father, like, oh my God, just slap the hell out of him. Just get it over with, smack him, and send him on his damn way. Like, get it done. I'm sick of that little asshole.
How dare you?
And then, because he keeps challenging Ray, to a match at WrestleMania, and Ray keeps saying, he's not going to fight him. And it's just like...
It's not his fault his daddy's a little bitch.
No, he's the little bitch. And then, it's just like the whole thing, like with Oscar, like, well, okay, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, like one of the spots that I really liked in that match where Seth did the curb stomp off the back of Miz, because Miz got in there trying to get involved and everything. That I like that. And then, KO and Solo, I'm skipping some shit, but I don't really care. But anyway, KO versus Solo, that was a pretty good match. But of course, that those damn Usos had to get involved. But yeah, that's what I think about Raw right there. SmackDown, I like when Cody called out, Sammy and KO trying to get them to come together, but they wouldn't. Then the Dom and Rhea versus Zelina Vega and Santos Escobar. It was a pretty good match, but of course, Dom and Rhea won. Let's see, Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Emma and Tegan Knox. It was a match. I mean, it was okay. And then here's another example of LA not getting buried with Xavier Woods. Then the Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. excellent fucking match as usual. But I mean, everybody on Twitter and me knew that it was gonna come to where it was gonna end up being both of them facing Gunther. And then the whole thing with Sammy and Jay, KO had supposedly left at the beginning or whatever, and then I just knew he was going to come back, and of course he came back and took out the Usos, and then him and Sammy hugged, and that was just like the awesome moment right there. I was just like, yes, they're back, which everybody is saying, of course, that KO and Sammy are going to take the belts off the Usos. So it's just like Cody and Sammy and KO, they're going to be the ones to destroy the bloodline. Yes, please. Yeah. So that's SmackDown. And NXT, I'm so sorry. NXT is just ugh, to me. It's just like great big soap opera with all these little backstage segments and stuff that they do. It's just I can't. Okay, the matches are pretty good sometimes, but wow, this backstage crap that they do. It's just like a soap opera to me. But I mean, and what is this crap with Roxanne Perez? Okay, she collapsed. Why are you taking in all this? You're fixing to take the belt off of her and everything. You're got to do and all this. I don't get it. The doctors, the so-called doctor is saying, well, they can't really find anything wrong with her, but you're having this ladder match now to find the person to get the belt. Why? Why are you doing this? She should not be losing the belt. I don't understand all of that. And then Tatum Paxley, she turned on Ivy now during the tag match, and then I don't know. That's really all I got to say. Zoe Stark did pretty good against Sol Ruca, but I love Sol Ruca. I think she's really doing a good job. And Kiana James and Gigi Dolan, I don't know. Kiana James deserves more matches and everything. I think she's excellent. Gigi Dolan is an excellent wrestler too. And just the Carmella Hayes and Braun Breaker match, I really want to see that one. I think it's going to be an excellent match. That's what I got to say. Thank you.
I think we need to start our own merch because Heather just had one hell of a idea right there. I'm going to talk shit and I don't care. I think that would be the.
I think it deserves its own YouTube video playlist. I'm telling you.
That's right. Where's Tony Schiavone? We need to get that shit on Pro Wrestling Tees or boxofgimmicks.com, some shit like that. Because that pretty much just summed it up. I'm going to talk shit and I don't care. Oh, that was best, Heather. You make me laugh. Oh.
That's how you do a pipe bomb. You guys know that. That's how you do a pipe bomb.
Yeah.
There.
Exactly. I kind of agree with Heather, though, on some of those segments from NXT. It doesn't make sense what they're doing with the whole Roxanne Perez deal, because I thought, one, if they're deemed that they're not going to be able to defend the title within 30 days, that's when you strip a champion, and they're not even really making it sound like they're giving her a chance. The only thing I can think of is maybe Roxanne Perez makes a comeback at Stand and Deliver and becomes a participant in that ladder match for the NXT Women's Championship.
Or they want to move her to the main roster.
I think it's too early for her to go main roster. I think right now NXT needs a woman face, and I think Roxanne Perez is that woman right now, unless anybody else disagrees with that.
Well, I agree, but there's also been talk that it's unconfirmed that maybe something legit really bad happened to her. So who knows?
Yeah, it's just
it doesn't make any sense to me, the storyline wise.
No, I mean, I know.
To me, I think she really got injured, is what I think.
There could be too. It's really hard to say if it's a legitimate injury or if it's a play out of the Shawn Michaels playbook, from the whole.
Watching old episodes of WWE Superstars?
I was actually referring to the supposed 10 guys that jumped him, which after finding out it was only one guy that pretty much whooped his ass.
I love that. Shout out to Shawn Michaels and the Spider-Man too, by the way. I'm going to give you half the guys of 10, so I'll give you 4. Well, no, shouldn't it be 5? Like,
Yeah, I'm just leaving that alone. I did find it also interesting, though. Tony D and Stax are going to go for the NXT Tag Team Championship. I think it's long overdue that they finally get some gold around Tony D's waist. I think it would be a great match if we get those two up against Gallus. However, I just don't see him taking it off Gallus anytime soon.
to me, in this year should be the Tag Champions. Those guys are freaking off the chain.
Who's that?
In this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's another great one there to continue their dominance.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have just had Jinder Mahal beat Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. Then they can really be dominant there. So,
yeah.
Other than that, I don't really have anything else. I think y'all did pretty good covering it this week. I did like the fact that Cody played the good mediator between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I felt it was about time to make them finally reunite. I am just a little disappointed, though, because I think they're dragging their feet way too long with the whole Dom and Rey Mysterio fight here. Just get it going.
How do you think it happens, guys? Do you think he slaps his mom? Is that what you think is going to happen?
That would come off a little too creepy, I think.
Like, what do you think gets Ray to finally say yes, though? I think it has to be Angie. Something with Angie.
Yeah, somebody else said something. It's gonna have to be something to do with his mom. That's what somebody else said on Twitter, that his mom is gonna have to be brought into it somehow. That is gonna be the only way that Ray is gonna agree to fight him.
Because if he hasn't said yes, I mean, that's what I'm asking. Because if he hasn't said yes now, what's it going to take?
That's true. I mean, maybe that is a good point there. Have him do something despicable to his mother, or maybe just have Angie finally say, you know what, it's time to teach Dom a lesson. Beat his ass.
I was thinking too, like, one thing I'm glad with the storyline, because I was a little worried that they were going to bleed it into the Hall of Fame. And I really think those things need to be separate, and they alluded to that this week where he said, I'll leave you alone for that. And I was kind of glad, because I was like, please don't have him show up at the Hall of Fame or do some kind of, kayfabe story. And so I was glad to see that they're steering away from that aspect.
At the same time, though, I am kind of sad that they had, I guess maybe probably Batista is filming something right now. I don't know. I wish they would have put John Cena in this year, because I would like to. I mean, for me, like, the one thing about this is I would have liked Ray to go in when Dominic could have been there to appreciate his father and not have the storyline going on.
Yeah,
that's my only sore about them putting Ray in and having to shift there. Was like, Dominic's not going to be able to be on camera and enjoy his dad getting put in the Hall of Fame. So I wish they would have waited a couple more years on Ray.
Does Dominic have any siblings? Help me out with that.
Yes. Angie. Yeah, Angie.
Aaliyah.
I thought so. So maybe that's a tie-in somewhat they can use.
I think it has to be Angie. I really do think it has to be his mom.
How about the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, though? I think they're finally getting that right. I just think they waited a little too long. And
they just waited. Exactly. They just waited too long. Like, all these matches, we should be getting, like, just face-to-faces right now. It's just, they've had all this time to build this, and it's like, it just now feels like everything's just kind of, I feel like they just kind of know, we got to sell out, but again, at the same time, they could have opened it up to 100,000 people and they didn't. But at the same time, I feel like they're just kind of resting on their laurels, and I just don't like that.
Yeah. I just, the only thing I didn't like was Charlotte Flair's choice of clothing that day.
I did not like that either. No.
That was actually the one thing my wife pointed out. I was like, what in the hell is she wearing? I said, I don't know. I just give up. I mean, obviously it wasn't another one of Becky Lynch's wardrobes that Seth Rollins tried, but it was just god awful. But no, I think it was about time they finally spiked that feud up a little bit. They should have been doing this like maybe a week or two before this. I think we're going to get a great match out of those two, and I think this time we're going to actually see Rhea Ripley finally get that victory over Charlotte Flair.
So what do you guys think is the politics that is preventing Sammy and Kevin from main eventing? You think it's the whole Saudi thing, or you think it's Charlotte politicking to be the main event?
I don't know. I'm not going to even... I don't even have a real response for that, really. I guess nobody else does either.
No one else.
No, I don't.
Think of anything.
Everyone's like, we're going to play a little nice here, Carlos. We're going to stay out of politics today.
I just think they're being sold to Saudi Arabia still is what I think. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, that could possibly be it. I don't know. That kind of stuff I probably should pay better attention to, but I don't. I just don't look at that type of stuff.
And now the other thing I think about with Vince being in control too is I think like Bray Wyatt being off TV, looking at whole I feel like with him too. I feel like they're going to be okay. Well, just wrestle WrestleMania, and then we'll let you take your time and decide what you want to do after that. That's what I feel like is going on with that whole thing.
All right, on that.
No comments.
No.
I
think we're gonna leave it alone. So
is Vince sponsoring this podcast?
Oh man, I'll tell you what. If the money's right, no.
Damn, everyone has a price, huh?
Yeah. Name your price. Well, like Ted DiBiase says, everybody has a price.
I was just thinking that.
Can these fans please quit giving Paige or quit giving Saraya money? Bitch has enough. Jesus.
Wow. Carlos is kind of lit up today, isn't he?
Someone gave a $100 bill at Dynamite again. I'm like, Jesus Christ, people.
On that note, we're going to wrap up this little segment here. We're going to take a couple of minutes here, and we'll be back with our top 10s. And now it's time for the top 10s for the week. Why don't we go ahead and start off with Heather on her 10?
The whole top 10 or just...
Yeah, just go ahead. Go from 10 to 1.
Okay. For number 10, I put Gigi Dolan. Don't ask me why. Number 9, I put Cody Rhodes. Number 8, Seth Rollins. Number 7, Orange Cassidy. Number 6, I put the Blackpool Combat Club. Number 5, Brody King. Number 4, Kevin Owens. Number 3, Sheamus. Number 2, Drew McIntyre. And I put Ray Phoenix as number 1 because he kicked ass.
Here's Heather's next box of gimmick shirt. I put Gigi Dolan at 10. Don't ask me why. Heather, we don't ever need to know why. This is your top 10.
She like with Will, she's just trying to fit a girl in there. She had to just put a girl in there.
Yeah.
Let me just throw
that obligatory
Tony Khan
female there.
Let me throw a women's match in this shit. There we go.
I don't know why I always have a hard time saying obligatory. It's like one of those redneck deals, I guess. Well, Carlos, let's have your top 10.
So for number 10, I put Sammy and Kevin Owens. For number 9, Dominic Mysterio. Number 8, Carmella and Chelsea. Number 6 was Cody Rhodes. Or number 7 was Cody Rhodes. Number 6 was the Dark Order. Number 5 was Ray Phoenix. Number 4 was Powerhouse Hobbs. Number 3 was the JS. Number 2 is the Elite. And number 1 is House of Black.
Awesome. Brian, just out of curiosity, do you have a top 10?
You better. Yeah,
I don't. I don't. I'm bad at top 10s, and because trying to. So that is definitely not my jam. But I have things I liked in the week, right? And so obviously at the top of that top 10, that imaginary one would be like probably just overall AEW for going out there and trying something different with their house show, as we spoke about, and just making it successful their first time and ever trying to do that. So kudos to them. And they're my number 1 in my top 10, my imaginary top 10.
Sweet. Well, all of my 10 is the Bloodline, so there you go, Heather. No, just kidding.
Almost, right?
No.
You're right, Carlos. I forgot Omos is in there, so.
Shush.
In all seriousness, my number 10, I went to I gave it to Angelo Dawkins. Number 9, Taya Valkyrie. 8, Dabba-Kato. 7, Jay Uso. 6, Daniel Garcia. And I kind of cheated my 4 on up to 1. Number 4, I did the combination of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Number 3, all 3 teams in the World Trios Championship on Dynamite. Number 2, I went with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. And my number 1 went to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So, yeah, that was kind of an interesting week for me on that one. I was so conflicted on who all to put in. But I went with the William rule. I threw in a few combos there, so we're going to cheat. It's our rules, goddammit.
It's your top 10, whatever you want it to be.
That's right. I don't know why, but I put it there. No, just kidding, Heather. She's gonna slap the shit out of us today. Well, that concludes our top 10. Well, we just go ahead and get into our weekly shout-outs. And while we start with Brian on the shout-outs this week.
Yeah, so I'll start out. I'll do let me throw a few out there random. Infamous Rated R. Let me do Mooncutters at Mooncutters. Let me do at Steel City James. He just followed me, as we got started on the stream, so I followed him back. So that's a new wrestling friend right there. And just again, I'm gonna shout out Tony Khan and AEW for the work they did, like I mentioned in the top 10.
Awesome, Carlos. Your top 10. Gee, I think I'd be doing this podcast long enough. Carlos, your shout outs for the week.
So I just wanted to shout out all my new friends that I made while my AEW week. So and if you want their socials, you can hit me up about it. But Amanda, Chris, Karen, Alani, Thomas, Mateus, Kevin, Paulina, and then also Jose. Again, to me, I'm proud to be a part of the AEW community. And again, I never for once thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be by myself when I go to these events. Just meeting a lot of amazing new fans. And again, I'm going to do the same thing with Brian. I'm going to shout out AEW Outreach. AEW, if you're a fan of AEW and you're going to events, make sure that you're following AEW Community Together. Also AEW, the live events on Twitter as well. Make sure you're following the stars because you never know when they come to your town. And I can let you know this too. If you're going to be in Vegas for Double or Nothing, Max Caster is going to have the world's biggest scissor party there. So make sure you check that out.
Nice.
And again, and I just keep shouting out Ted Hillbilly Hill. Thanks for the well wishes, Ted. And just thank you for your constant support of our podcast. And just again, and all the positive people that we're part of with the wrestling community. I feel like, we do a good job of putting out a positive Twitter and it's just a positive wrestling community, IWC. And let's continue to do that and be examples for everybody else. That's all I got.
All right. Heather, your shout outs for the week?
NWO Machine, Wrestling with the War podcast, Vader from Wish, Jess, even though she's not on Twitter because she always supports us. And I'm going to say Conan and Sergeant Slaughter, just on the off chance they might listen to us. But just because they're incredible anyway. And then to all the listeners, and I appreciate all of y'all.
All right. I got a couple to throw out there. First and foremost, our newest listener last week. It may have been hard to hear because we had so much technical difficulties last week as well with the skipping and all that. And I apologize to all our listeners. Hopefully this week is a lot better for you. But first off, I want to throw in our newest listener, Kevin from Libby, Montana. He's just started listening to our podcast and managed to call up my sister-in-law and told her, I went back and listened to the previous 3 episodes. So, Kevin, thank you. Appreciate your listening, and hopefully we continue to keep getting your support there. I also want to throw out Ted the Hillbilly Hill. He's been texting me back and forth here and there. And Ted, thank you for your support as always. It's a bummer that we don't have you on Twitter, but we appreciate the support and we enjoy listening to your podcast each and every week. Also want to throw out Carolina at Carol Bucks on Twitter. She's always been one of my bigger supporters on the YouTube channel. So thank you, Carolina. Also want to say thank you to Fan in the Van at Austin Boyer 25. Wrestling with the War, as Heather mentioned. And this week I'm going to make a special one just because he was a smartass with Carlos recognizing him this week. But thank you, infamous rated R, Raph. You're welcome. I hope you're...
Yeah, he's been on a good little Twitter rant for like a week or so.
I know, he's been a little sassy this week.
Yeah,
it's kind of like he had a spicy burrito or some shit like that. I'm like, damn, dude.
But let's get him to. He wants to hit 6,000 followers by WrestleMania, so let's get him there, guys.
Oh yes, definitely. What's that goal again?
6,000.
Yes, I'm surprised he's not at 10,000 already.
Me too.
Yeah, this is a guy who's widely known on the wrestling Twitter.
He's infamous again.
Yeah, for sure. Give our guy a follow there if you haven't. And without any further ado, thank you to Libsyn for hosting our podcast and providing it to every available audio platform. And also a big thank you to StreamYard for providing a platform for us to get together and make this recording possible. Go visit our website at www.wrestlingfansinsight.com, insight spelled INCITE, and you'll find us on all the links to our podcast on your favorite audio platform. We're available on GoodPods, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Deezer, Ghana, YouTube, and much more. If you like our podcast and want to be notified of our latest releases, please subscribe on our page at www.wrestlingfansinsight.com or whichever audio platform you listen on. While you're at it, if it's possible, give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd be happy to read your review on future recordings. You can follow and interact with us on Twitter. Brian, you want to give your Twitter handle?
Yep, it's at the Brian Adkins.
And Heather?
It's at BamaGirl _4 EVA.
Oh, come on.
Roll Tide, bitches.
She did good last week getting her motto down, and then this week she just totally forgets it.
Sorry.
It's all good. We have to tease you. Carlos, you want to give us your Twitter handles?
So yeah, at C to the LOS 77, and then also at Conquer the No, and then also on Instagram it's at Conquer the No, and then Rainbow Goodness _
Oh, I think I followed you on Instagram. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
I would have felt really like a bad monkey now if I didn't. But
I was like, I had to go unlock it because I was meeting at the show. They're like, you got Instagram? I'm like, all right, let me go back and get this.
Oh, awesome. All right. Even though he's not here with us this week, I'm still going to give Williams out. You can follow him at William Hoppe, HOPPE, the number 8, at William Hoppe.
He'll get back to you in 30 days or less.
If you're lucky, he'll get back to you in 60 days or less. And you can follow me on 2 different accounts, at WF Insight Podcast or at John WF Insight. If you're on Facebook, look for our group, The Fans of Pro Wrestling. And lastly, if you'd like to leave us a text message or voicemail, you can call our number at 1-385-367-4772. We hope you enjoyed this week's programming, and we'll be back next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Twitter Space. Be safe, be kind, and have a great week, everyone.